We call the February 5th meeting of the West Des Moines City Council to order and invite you all to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, please sign in.
Four members present.
Ryan, have there been any changes to the agenda?
There is one change. Staff's recommending for item 5A, ordinance on open space zoning. Agenda originally had us continuing that to February 19th. We're now going to continue it to March 4th instead.
Okay, perfect. Can I get approval of the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, moving on to item 2, Citizens Forum. Anybody that would like to address the council on any item that is not either part of public hearings or new business, please come to the podium here, give us your name and address for the record. We ask that you keep it to 5 minutes or under. We ask that you keep it civil and respectful. Okay, is there anybody from the audience that would like to address the council for Citizens Forum? Is there anybody online that would like to address the council for Citizens Forum? If so, please hit *6, not #6 or #6, but *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Is there anybody online? Okay, hearing nobody, Citizens Forum is closed. We're going to move on to item 3, Mayor, Council Manager report or other entities update. And we're going to start with item 3A, which is a presentation of the City of West Des Moines Communications Plan from Jana Rieker, who is here with us today.
That's right. Hi,
Okay,
I'm
go
Jana
ahead, Jan.
Rieker. I'm with the City of West Des Moines. My business is Amplimark, and we are serving as a consultant for the city in the communications plan. So that's what I'm here to present today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you. So as many of you will recall, a little over a year ago, our firm met with both directors of the City of West Des Moines, as well as elected council members and other community partners. One of the things that we set out to do was, are we as a community and as a city doing our best effort to make sure that messages are heard, communication is being shared, and evaluated. So our study showed kind of two things, and there is a public study that's created from the City of West Des Moines, a citizen engagement study. So each year, those are evaluated and scored very, very well. That is with communication. We always have the opportunity to do more. So what we looked at was to come up with a 28-page communication study and brand guide, or communication plan and brand guide. And with that, I'm not going to go through 28 pages. You're welcome. Instead, we have it in a summary. I'm just going to share a couple of highlights of what you find in there. And instead of my firm creating the plan, we worked closely with directors, with communication representatives within the city. I met with the council members individually to share some feedback, to get their input along the way, and of course, closely with the CMO office and what they do on a regular basis to communicate. And I've had the opportunity to get to know many of your team members well, and I'm proud to represent share some of the information that we found going forward. So within the plan, there's some simple stuff. There's a table of contents. There's an about us. There's a mission, vision, values. I will share these on additional slides. I wanted to just spend a little bit of time on some of those key elements, because the last phrase that you'll see here is engage, anticipate, deliver. Does that look familiar to everyone on the council? That is the city's catchphrase. And it's It's in a plan. It's from our 2036 plan and deliverables. But the reason I'm bringing it forward now is that's not just what we do for business. It's who we are as a community and how we treat respectfully our citizens, our residents, our visitors, and everyone that we serve, we as a city. So I include that on a regular basis, and we are being very mindful about bringing that forward in some of the recommendations that the plan includes. Okay, so about the city of West Des Moines. Again, within the presentation, it's 28 pages. My PowerPoint's just a few slides. But I do like to spend a little bit of time. Don't worry about not reading the fine print there. It's just that we included a lot of statistics within the presentation, within the guide, because the brand guide and the communications plan is not only supposed to tell us what communication platforms are available, but who we're talking to, right? So the West Des Moines is a vibrant city with a focus on growth and economic development as we work continuously to build a safe and welcoming community for all. You'll see that in how we invest. You'll see that in how we outreach. But a safe and welcoming community for all is a very critical part of how we do business and how we communicate. So I want to include that in here as well. The brand guide includes very important elements like our vision, mission, our catchphrase, as you see here. I think new employee prospects may be one of the few that go in and really pay attention to that, but it's important for our employees. And thank you, Todd, for a new onboarding video where we get to include some of these elements for employees to, again, whether we're recruiting somebody or bringing them on board long-term, we want them to know who we are and how appreciative we are for them to join your team. So, brand guides include all your basics, right? Very important things. One of the reasons that this is being brought up today, or to the group, the city of West Des Moines operates on a decentralized model, and what that means is each department, instead of just everything funneling up to one communications person or department, each department is in charge of their messaging. That's a critical differentiator and why we score so well as a city in reaching our audiences. Not everybody's going to see the same message because not everybody wants to be reached in the same way. So the decentralized model matters. We didn't have all of this information that you see in the brand guide in one place. There was a little bit here, a little bit there. So one of the main things that the point of the 28 pages is to bring that together. It serves as a reference guide for all of those different departments to be able to know what's our brand color, what's our logo, etc. So I'll make that fast. But beyond the logo and the department brands and the department logos, we also have images that represent us. So the city's created a resource library with images, with videos, with things that, again, are supposed to be representative of our group. Platforms that are available, technology available, etc. Again, I mentioned the city scores really well when it comes to communication, but we can always do better, right? So I want to make a point of including in here that we do measure and evaluate each year. Our top ranking elements are that the magazine that is mailed out 3 times a year, also information of programs, etc. So I think it's important that we continue to evaluate so we can always find ways to improve. Here's my message about the decentralized model and what a key differentiator that is. And why that matters is so we can have those key experts in different communities. Okay, so our outreach. This particular slide I'm particularly proud of because there's ways that we communicate that you may not be aware of. And again, unless you're in it and doing it, and if you're not the key audience, you may not know it's out there. So our earned media in 2023, if you do a news search for the city of West Des Moines, and some of this is thanks in part to all the presence that you have in the community, but 101,000 news stories were covered in 2023 for the city of West Des Moines. That's a lot of outreach. That's a lot of very targeted messaging to our media partners, both in the region and with our CED partners. Direct mail, I think one of the key things there is the magazine, again, the high score that it receives. I think we just changed the circulation on that, but it's in every household. That also is a differentiator. We've looked at ways to scale that. It's a tremendous way to demonstrate how important everybody that lives and visits our community receives one of those, so they have an opportunity to engage in your programs. The third box, you can't see it, that's intentional. It's a screenshot from our website. And what that is the page that you can go and find every targeted email that the city makes available to, if I want to sign up for a new park program, if I want to sign up for, snow information, et cetera. There are, I signed up for all of them, so just so you know, in the first 6 months of 2024 fiscal, we sent out about 150 emails, targeted emails, to thousands of subscribers. Again, you probably don't want to get all of those emails unless you do sign up for all of them, that's great. But I think the reason that that's so important is that the people that are on the receiving end of those, they want to be informed, they want to stay informed, and the city does a very nice job of making sure that that outreach targets them appropriately. And then, of course, if it's not an outreach through email or earned media or direct mail, it's events and outreach. So staff does a marvelous job making a plethora of number of programs available. Okay, so that's outreach. So then what do we do to bring them in, right? Everybody's familiar with our websites. I want to share a little bit of information about some of the things that we've done for improvement along the way. Mayor, this is a brainchild that you helped start, so I get to brag a little bit here on some navigation buttons. I'm not able to increase the size here, but the screen on your way left is just a screenshot of the homepage of the city, right? I'm going to take this further once and I'll go back. This is an enlarged picture of that. And one of the things that the city took a look at is how do we make it easy for people to find things? And what's on the website? Go to the website. So through a DEI lens and also just a navigation lens, we took these icons that you can see on the bottom of the page, and we created a picture path. We made, I call it app-like functionality, right? The icons already were there, but instead of just linking directly to the parks page or somewhere else, we changed that navigation to, Mayor calls it the easy button. You'll remember the Staples commercial, right? If I need to pay a bill, if I need to do a register for an event. And each one of those, my colleague Brittany Setledge in the back here helped come up with a library of icons. So instead of just a link of words, which was already available, we improved navigation so people can find information quicker. I will give you some statistics real quickly. In 2023, so when you measure an event, if you measure page views or whatever on a website, in 2023 we had 1.5 million events that were measured. Because we added measurable marks, that's fine, that's page views or whatever, but 1.5 million events, 450,000 users, good traffic. In January alone, because we're able to mark each of these elements, we have over 4.3 million events that we've measured in 1 month. So we know that what we're doing is getting to people, offering them information, and tracking that we really do provide access to information for people who want to see it. So Again, some of it's just that we're counting it differently, but we're also able to do that now that the navigation has changed.
What's an event?
It's like a page view, it's a click on a button, it's interaction with your website. Yeah, thanks for the question. I'll go back real quick. We also have very targeted platforms through the Go West and the RecPlex websites. Those are really important for the audiences that they serve to be able to, again, share information, but drive traffic back to our website, to the city's primary website when needed. And then our social media. Anybody follow any of our social media pages? Yep, okay. So our social media pages, we did a count. Currently, there are 73 different platforms between all the different Facebook pages, all the different Instagram, LinkedIn. Again, kudos to the team for managing all of those. 14,000 is the highest number of followers on one of those platforms. We have over 90,000 followers across the different platforms, which is an incredible number when you think of not everybody wants to get an email message or, excuse me, a Facebook post about something. But with 90,000 subscribers, you've pretty much hit everybody within the city limits on those. So I think that's an incredible number, but they're very targeted. Some of them have as small as 300 followers. And I think that's a pretty big differentiator because you're probably not getting all of them, but it's important to know that they're happening. I'll touch real base within this communication plan. We've made a diligent effort to do affinity group meetings. That's targeted messages within different groups. They're listed here. We meet quarterly and talk about communications, talk about what platforms we're using, what are we doing to be more efficient. If the affinity groups existed before, but instead of project related, we're just meeting to talk about communications and what we can do to do better. And I've seen some incredible information sharing from the different teams that have really helped some of these projects come to fruition. In addition to meeting, we also have currently a website, an intranet site for the team. IT is working closely with HR to be able to, and the CMO office, to be able to put together just an intranet that allows people to share information from department to department without having to miss, because we're focusing not just on the external communication, but with the plan to communicate internally to our employees as well. So again, we're that engage, anticipate, deliver, City of West Des Moines, and let's keep it rolling.
Thank you. Any questions for Jana?
How much, and we do have a very engaged West Des Moines chamber that I think does remarkable work with helping us with promoting a variety of things that are going on. How much does that interplay help us a bit with the enormous amount of support that we get for elevating our work through what Catherine does?
Yeah, we do have an incredible chamber. We're actually really engaged with our school districts as well. Again, depending upon who the audience is, the business audience is definitely blessed to have a chamber that share business messages, training messages, etc. Depending upon the audience, we want to make sure that all of the school districts are also a considered partner. We do have a page within the book that talks about how to use affiliate partner logos and how to share content with them and vice versa. So if we have messages that we want them to share, here's the logo, here's how you source your content, and then also how we can partner on activities. So we've written in there not just what that outreach looks like, but also give them opportunities to be able to share information as well.
Any other
I would
questions
say-
or comments? Go ahead.
I would say, Renee, the most closely aligns with our CED department, not necessarily with everyone, not all.
I'd just say, Jenna, thank you for the presentation, for all the work you've done. I personally have gone to the website and seen a dramatic improvement over the last several months, so thank you for all you're doing.
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I would echo that. I just want to thank you and your company, Amplimark, and thank our IT department and all of our department directors and staff who have been working so hard with you on this, the city manager's office and others. This is great work that you guys have been doing. I think this makes information more readily available to our citizens, and I'm really excited about what we've done with the website, with the easy buttons, and I know we're continuing to work on that and continuing to improve functionality. It's my hope that this is going to be self-contained, where citizens and businesses are able to use their smartphone to do business with the city without leaving their home. As an example, I hope someday that we can do something where you sign up for an aquatic center pass, and you're able to put in all the information from your smartphone, you're able to pay with your credit card, you're able to take a picture of yourself, upload the photo, because we require those for aquatic center passes, and then you're able to download your pass, put it in your Apple Wallet, and then when you go to the aquatic center, you use that to get in. Same thing with the dog park, same thing with permits. It's all contained. When you go to, and this functionality is not there yet, but we're working on that, and I hope to get there. When you go to a snack bar, any one of the snack bars, whether it's at the softball field or the Recplex or something like that, I'd like to have it someday such that you're able to order on your phone, you're able to pull up the menu, you're able to put the items in your cart, put your credit card in there, hit pay, and then you get a number and you show up to the snack bar and they just call out a number and you get your food. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be up with like 21st century technology here. And I think we're well on our way, as I say to Jana and Amplimark and staff. They've basically taken the ball. They've run it all the way down to the 20. I think we are on the 20-yard line looking to score a touchdown here. And, I'm not sure what it takes to get it the rest of the way into the end zone, but I am going to be dedicated to working to get that done, whatever it takes. So I think it will be really awesome. We've also talked about AI and bots helping out. So a lot of exciting stuff going on here to make government more readily available to our citizens. Yes, Councilwoman
Yeah,
Harden.
I think that's good thinking as well. And again, we have all kind of citizens that live here, seniors that may not be as tech savvy as we want them to be. We have families that don't even have technology available to them. So having a platform for all folks, I think, is really critical. Those that are really tech savvy, that love the kind of stuff that the mayor is talking about, and some that never have the ability to use technology to do that stuff, making sure that we're really looking at all kind of platforms and venues to accommodate all kinds of needs and desires.
And we've got accessibility built into the website, right? I mean, could you talk about some of that functionality or what we're trying to achieve there?
Let me just go back to one key thing here that I apologize I went over quickly. But on page 4, our guiding principles, from your 2036 plan, we have a focus here on number 5 of double down on technology, right? So it's there. We definitely want it to be there. Does that mean spend and spend and spend and buy? But no, it's what do we need to be more efficient, right? Take a look at the options that are here. I was just on the phone with Granicus, who is your website host, just before coming in, about how do we do a better job of getting people from one page to the other, just that ease of use, right? Making it easy for them, but also counting events or activities on the site. You've doubled down on technology with your accessibility with the fiber network. What an incredible thing that is for residents and businesses. For all access, I think that's great. To your point, Councilman Hardman, it's not just about technology. It's about all of it. And so the slide where I mentioned the importance of other ways people like to, number 7, some people, they just, they want to see us with a magazine, or they want to just get an email. A lot of the departments through our affinity group are talking about text and what are some of them use it, some platforms, some departments use it. how can we efficiently roll out that service across all departments? It's by talking, right? Talk to the other departments, see what's out there, see what works, and share those experiences so we don't all have something different operating. It's more cost effective if we share, but it's also, it's just a matter of communicating, hey, this is what I learned. Oh, you can jump on my subscription or whatever. So it's definitely ways that we're offering those things without spending and having the silos, because the decentralized communication strategy can create silos unless you're talking to each other. And silos means, oh, I didn't even know they were working on such and such project or email system or whatever. So I think from just an effort standpoint, just putting it forward definitely helps them get there. Double down on technology also means what are some things that are out there that we're not considering yet. So I know Jamie's really been working on what are some tools and technology, what are some things that are out there that we need to be vetting, whether we need them yet or not, but let's just make sure that they're on the forefront, put that technology on the map somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you, Jana. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much. All right, with that, we're going to move on to item 3B, which is a presentation from city staff on Center for Public Safety Management, LLC.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Todd Sadler, Human Resource Director. Thanks for the time tonight, Mayor and Council. We do have a presentation. Came to you about a year ago for a study of the City of West Des Moines Police Department, and CPSM, Center for Public Management Systems, has conducted that analysis. They are part of the International County City Association, nonprofit that's over 108 years old, with over 13,000 city-county members and 32 countries. That's all known commercial for CPSM. So what the primary focus of looking at the City of West Des Moines Police Department was, one, looking at the efficiency, effectiveness, and safety of the department. They looked at the organizational structure, the workload, and the staffing levels. The projection was about 240 days it would take, and it took about that. They looked at a lot of data, including call-outs, response times, as well as did in-person interviews in August with the PD and myself and a few others. So with that, I'm going to hand out the executive summary. I'm not sure if it was in the packet, and then Chief and team will take it over.
Thank you.
While he hands that out, Chris Scott, Chief of Police here in the City of West Des Moines. And with me is Jody Hayes, Assistant Chief of Police here in West Des Moines. Through this process, what you're getting right now for the executive summary, there should be basically three things on there: a little bit about the company, some of their general observations, and then what they refer to as key recommendations. And there's 61 key recommendations that they came up with. But in conversation, to kind of open this up, in conversation with the company, they had three assessors. All three of them were from the state of California. They said great things about our department. They were very complimentary. It starts with you. It starts with the city leaders, because we don't get where we are without the support that we need to do what we need to do, right? So hiring, training, equipment. You've heard a lot from us recently about the equipment and technology that we need to be more efficient and maybe supplement where we're short in other areas. So they were very complimentary about that. Great employees. They were very complimentary employees, and our employees were very complimentary of the police department. High morale. Our employees described West Des Moines as a premier agency to work for. Huge compliment. At the end of the day, the guy said, "You're an A department, but we're going to try to figure out how to make an A+ department. What more could I ask for?" So, pretty good deal. One of the things that they talked about during their analysis of our department was what they refer to as a 60-40 workload. we kind of got off center a little bit between their assessment and our opinion of how they ran their stats. And I say that because we account for our workload when we get the trip from dispatch and when we clear from a call. And what's not included in that is their paperwork, right? So they're using a 60-40 plan, 60 best practices. Your people should be time accounted for 60% of the time. The other 40% should be time for driving around on patrol, doing something proactive, doing some community outreach, whatever that might look like. Well, they put us at 57% of our time is accounted for, and it doesn't include any of our paperwork. And that's because we do it that way. That's the service that we're providing our community. We go back in service before we're done, because if there's a 911 call, we respond. We don't say, hey, I'm tied up on paperwork, I can't make it right now. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable at every level of our city. So there was a little bit of, hey, we can account for 57% of your time, and we would argue we're above 60% easy on workload because we're not accounting for the time we're doing paperwork. So that was a little bit of a challenge, but we worked through it. It was fine. But there was a couple other things that bothered me, and not to their fault, but what they didn't understand is when they came and worked with patrol, we had a day on patrol where it was, 3 out of 5 people working the street were backfilled from other areas of the department. So we're hitting our minimum number, and for them, yeah, you're hitting your numbers. Good job. Well, hang on a minute. We got that number because we stole somebody from the school. Well, actually, it was summer, so we're good there. We stole somebody from our traffic unit, and we stole somebody from community outreach because we didn't have enough people to work patrol that day. So we reassigned people, or what you see in my slide right here, there's mandatory overtime. We require people to work overtime when we can't fill our seats. Well, to the extent of what in 2023, 10,000 hours. Mandatory overtime of 10,000 hours. In 2021, it was just shy of 9,000 hours. So we're staying busy, right? I threw in the off-duty because what's the purpose of off-duty? Is it a cash cow for cops? No. It's what it is. It's a efficiency management for us. Let's take Shields. Not to pick on Shields, but we have a few cases that happen in Shields, right? Shields has hired an off-duty officer. And had that off-duty officer not be working at Shields, you're taking an officer off the street that's going to respond there to handle whatever they're dealing with at Shields. So it makes us more efficient, and Shields is picking up the cost for that, if that makes sense. So if you look at that, off-duty jobs, there's 1,390 jobs for a total of 5,871 hours, and you can see that's up from 2021. Okay, the moral of the story, we're busy. You guys know that. I'm not preaching anything different than what you already knew. It's just a perspective that we had with the assessors that we felt they didn't account for. Hey, these are important numbers that you need to include in this. If we're at 60% and we're doing that while mandatory overtime, that's a concern. So that gives us to the 61 key recommendations. It starts out, let me first tell you, we have 15 of them we have identified that we can start chipping away at. In fact, we've already started chipping away at some of them. There were 15 recommendations that we said, hey, time out. We do this. Maybe it's not at the same level they were asking, but we do it. And a couple of those are, some of you have called in with traffic complaints. You've never heard those as a council member, right? We get a traffic complaint. What's the first thing we can do is go to our traffic complaint log. And one of the recommendations is you need to track your complaints for traffic enforcement or complaints. And I thought, well, we do that. And each of you know we do that because we provide you with that information. Succession planning. We do that. We've done that every single year since I've been here. We started in 2018. We get together as a team. We talk about what we're doing to make sure that we stay fluid as people retire out of our department. And if you look, since I've been here, I lost an assistant chief and a captain of our top 4 positions. Now we backfill those with others that fill those seats. In our most recent team meeting that we had, if you look at the next 5 years, we're at roughly 60% of our leadership team can retire. We have got to have a plan in place for us to make sure that people are getting the experience in the school needed to fill those spots. So I would say that we do that. There were 8 recommendations that were outside of our lane. What does that mean? So they said we need more investigators, and we would say, yeah, we agree. We do need more we need more investigators, but we don't think they should be civilians. We think that the civilian piece of that complicates it. From their standpoint, and the cities that they came from, the size of the cities they came from, they probably have civilians that do something in investigations, and they're cheaper. But we think that makes it a little bit complicated for what we need to accomplish in the legal world by hiring civilian investigators. So we would say, okay, we won't argue investigators is a need. We're going to put that on our long-term need, but we want to be certified sworn police officers. Another thing that's outside of our lane is how do we keep our digital evidence? That's up to IT. And trust me, if you've seen me use a computer, you don't want me weighing in on this, all right? This is an IT problem. They're the experts. I trust what they recommend for us. So their recommendation was for some cloud stuff. I'm staying out of that. And then the last thing was, just another example I'll say that we're not interested is, how do we mitigate workload? If we're at a threshold or higher of a workload that, they believe over 60% morale is impacted by that. So here's some things you can do. You can stop taking property damage accidents. Okay? Thank you. That was my response. There's no way our community is going to tolerate not doing property damage accidents. Another thing, and honestly, when we do this, I get an email. We do a vehicle unlock because somebody goes to a gas station, they get out of their car, they run inside to pay, they come back outside and their vehicle's locked. Well, what do? You call a locksmith, you call the police, we try to figure out a way. It's not uncommon that if we have time, we'll do an unlock for them. We'll get them in their car. We do an unlock, I get an email. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For us, it's a service, it's a level of service that we provide our citizens that I don't think we're willing to give up. And honestly, it's a positive interaction. We don't want to give those up either. So all of the recommendations, the key recommendations that you are provided, that you will see, they're all numbered. So when you see these numbers on my slide, that's just making a reference, my summary, short version of what those recommendations are. Accurately capture patrol officers' workload. Already talked to you about how we do it different than maybe what they're recommending that we do it. But I agree we need a better account, and so we have to come up with a system of accountability without sacrificing the service. In other words, to determine this, I'm not going to ask my folks to sit in their squad cars and do the report and not go in service until they're done. But maybe we have one officer willing to do that and try to get an average for, what's it take? If we do a simple theft report, how long does that take generally? If we do a simple 2-car accident, how long does that take? And start to put some numbers to this. So workload is a priority. We have been talking about it. We don't have the exact process, but that we will work through. Modified patrol shift structure for lieutenants and sergeants. We started this actually pretty much the day that the assessors walked out, because I agree 100% that our patrol lieutenants should be doing more things in patrol. And so what the ask is of them was, I don't want you sitting in your office Monday through Friday, working 8 to 4, which is really not, we signed up for a long time ago. You need to hit every watch, and you need to be with them during their shift at some point in time. So our lieutenants are now working days, afternoons, and nights. They have to schedule their week. They have to submit it to their captain for approval. And the goal is to have that link, a better link in the chain of what's going on, and to resolve some of the issues that I shouldn't have to resolve. And if we had an administrator, out on the street, dealing with some of these problems, they can help remedy to those at that time. If they can't do it, they'll bring it up to our level and we'll take care of it. Create internal method of tracking clearance rates. This was a big one that was brought up by the assessors, only because the FBI takes some numbers, they divide them by some other numbers, and they come up with an average clearance rate. And some of you may know Jeff Beatty. He's in the business analyst world. He's very good at numbers. And let's just say that we don't agree with the way it's being reported. The other thing that I would tell you, when we arrest somebody and, maybe they're not found guilty. That happens, right? We had an unfortunate situation here in West Des Moines where suspect was arrested, and this was a tragic event, and a lot of evidence pointed that way, but a jury found the person innocent. And I understand that's our system, but we've closed that case, and the FBI wouldn't find it to be the same. So just understand our numbers are a little bit different. Conduct a detailed workload of ERU. A few years ago, through the 1 cent sales, the local option sales tax, we established an entertainment response unit. I think they were impressed with the unit, but they were thinking that you need to do a workload study because they do so many things. And I agree, they do so many things, and that's the intent, was for them to do everything that causes visitors to come to our community. And because of those relationships they built, they're dealing with the mall, they're dealing with restaurants, they're dealing with bars, they're dealing with, they walk around, Valley Junction on Thursday nights in the summer, and they'll eat some food and they'll mingle with people down there. It's what we want them to do. They've been out on the trails, they've been out the parks. They have created some trafficking cases to our hotels. And because of their relationship they established with hotel, we actually had a hotel that was willing to step up and let us do a sting. We contacted 26 people we knew were being human trafficked. But we couldn't, they have to step out, and that's very difficult for them to do. But in this case, how many we get? 6? 6 people? I said, if we get 1, I'll be happy. We got 6. We got 6 assistants. So huge win. That's because of the work that they're doing. Yes, we're going to look at their workload and see what else we need to do. Funny that Jana was speaking tonight because one of the recommendations was to create a robust media plan. We have in our plan for our 2030 plan for our department, we have a sergeant that we'd like to have assigned someday to the chief's office that will be committed to doing media, all things media, PIO, social networking, et cetera. So here's the one that comes with big numbers. I certainly wasn't going to attach the numbers to those because I don't want to scare you, but they're talking about 10 cops on patrol. And they got our 2030 plan. We really didn't talk about this too heavily, but if you look at the 2030 plan, which is what we hope to accomplish by 2030, it would add 10 people to patrol. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. They talked about adding 2 CSOs to patrol. Are we in dire need for that? I would say no. We talked about investigators. Yeah, we can use more, but are we in dire need? No. Supervisors and managers for administrative services, they talked about it from a civilian standpoint. We wouldn't do a civilian to save the money. We would do a certified officer. And then the last thing that I would bite on is a civilian for digital evidence. When I came here, our digital evidence collectors was IT. They're not employees of ours. They were doing us a favor is what they were doing. We quickly changed some of the responsibilities of Jeff Beatty. He started dumping cell phones. He started dumping computers. We got him certified to use forensics tools to dive into computers and laptops and those things. And he is a leader in the Metro right now for what he does, which also means his workload has, gotten 2-3 times what it was before. So we need to reevaluate, is he doing more than his fair share? And what's it look like if we brought in somebody to supplement some of the things he does? This is the quick and dirty. My ask for you is to read through the executive summary. You'll see where things are listed. And if one catches your eye, you can go into the full report and it'll give you the meat of that recommendation. And then I'll be happy to answer any of the questions that you have when you go through that. But if there's other questions that you have for me that I can clean up a little bit tonight, I'm happy to do that. But you can see the next steps is for you to accept. And then this will be published for the city. It'll be published by the police department. And then it will be on us to adopt some of those recommendations that they have brought forth.
Any questions for Chief Scott or Assistant Chief Hayes at this time? Councilman McKinney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, for being here and for walking us through this. Just basic questions. I'll spend more time going through it. When was the last time, if at all, this was completed?
I don't know when it was completed for the police department. But prior to my being here, the fire department did have it done.
Okay.
I don't know if we work with your other agencies that, what's it called?
Yeah.
Well, we had an analysis, we had a study and analysis done, I don't know, several years ago, I think, that looked at the number of police on the streets and
Well,
made a recommendation. Maybe not like this thorough.
Well, whatever. I'm glad we're doing it. I appreciate you bringing it forward. It's helpful to have, outside perspective. Certainly, I don't know the group, CPSM, but I'm glad we're doing these things. So thank you for going through it. I look forward to looking at it in more detail and following up.
Thank you.
Councilman Hudson.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Really appreciate this because there's a lot to go through, and it's tough to self-evaluate, and so you bring somebody else in, and they give you an overview, and sometimes they give you interesting recommendations. The one that kind of comes to mind right now is, I'm looking at number 41, the Community Outreach Unit. I feel like our department, your department, this department, does a fantastic job of community outreach, and I think you always want to do more. It's just a curious thing when they say, when it comes to lockouts, like you view that as a community outreach, and so do I. I think it's a great interaction where the officers are helping community members who are in a tough jam. I don't think they were suggesting that you leave another more serious incident and come to that, but it seems like recommendations in here say that a comprehensive community policing strategic plan be created. At the same time, you're already doing a lot of that, so I'm curious to see how that kind of jives with each other, because it's kind of confusing to me when someone says that.
That is kind of an interesting one for me, and one that I highlighted with my team, because every single thing we do is community outreach. Whether it would be a patrol response or a detective's investigation, or we put a class on, we do our community academy, it's all community outreach. Everything is. But what our challenge is we don't have anything that summarizes how it all comes together in a one-page simple document to say our community outreach is a comprehensive approach from all these different angles. And so when I added that as one of my top priorities, that's why I did it, is because I felt like we need to market ourselves in a simple page to say this is what we do. And if you look at that page, everything would be involved on that. Every aspect of what we do.
So they're just describing the lack of almost a bullet point summary of like, here's all the things we do in like one place that's easy to access, easy to find, easy to see, because we know you do all these things.
Right.
And perhaps that's what they're looking at there. Well, we already know you do them. So thank you to your entire team, and thanks for doing this, and keep helping people out from getting knocked out of their cars, because I know they appreciate it. So thank you, Chief.
That is a big deal. Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you. Also, thank you, Chief, for being here tonight to kind of walk us at a 20,000 level view of some of the recommendations. I do, as Chair of Public Safety, really look forward to really looking at these recommendations, and probably will have a few questions. One of the things, as you said, they indicated 10 FTE sworn employees. Is that immediately? Is that over a 3-year period of time? Is it what they base it on currently? I'm just curious, is this a snapshot of 10 or over a period of time?
I'm going to answer it this way. If I was to interpret that, if I was to ask, hey, this is what we need, I'm hoping by 2030 we'll be close to that, more bodies. I think we know the cost of cops, right? They're expensive. There's no way I could come to you and say, hey, we need 10 cops yesterday. It's just not going to happen. But that's just a street, right? So I got to believe, I'm in working with the schools. I got to believe there's a future maybe for some more SROs. You're looking at, other school districts. that may require some SROs, you know, so there's other areas, I think, of growth, but for us to accomplish what our vision is for service for a city our size, I think it's going to require 10 more cops on the street.
Okay. And then it was probably 2 to 3 years ago, maybe longer, there was at one time a citizens forum group that was formed to provide feedback and whatnot. It may have been 3 years, maybe 4 years ago. I know it was since I've, of course, been on the council. Does this report address anything about community advisory groups, just sitting down at least quarterly with the police department to discuss things, or is there, I'm not, again, I haven't seen it, so I
The only
don't know
thing
whether it addresses that kind of level of citizen engagement.
I think the only accountability for that would be our review of our involvement in the community. I don't think that they reached out to the group you're talking about is the mayor's task force.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which we have a committee member sitting behind me here that
Mm-hmm.
participate in that, so we appreciate Al being here. I'm sure he came to watch me tonight. Yeah. But, no, we provided an umbrella of, hey, here's what we do, and here's some of the driving things for some of what we participate in as well.
Okay. And were folks from this CPSM, was there one person on site or several people on site, or,
So there were 3 people that came on site,
okay,
and then they had a lot of statistic folks that they did the data dumps
Okay.
at another location where they provided feedback on that information.
okay. Good, thank you, appreciate your being here and what you do.
Councilman Trevillion.
I don't have any questions. I've got comments, though. Chief, I just want to thank you and Jody and Todd for being here to present this. It's great information. And I'm not surprised with the statement that you made that it showed that there was increased police morale. I'm happy to see that, but I'm not surprised to see that because I think morale increased the day you started here, from what I hear. And I know a lot of the officers and now some of the retired officers since you've been here, they didn't leave because of you. They left because they aged out and were able to retire. As you said, you've got a lot of your command staff that's doing, ready to do that in the next, 4 or 5 years. So I applaud your leadership at the police department. I am happy to hear that you are not interested in canceling investigating property damage accidents or canceling the vehicle unlocks. I hear from a lot of people that, holy crap, West Des Moines still unlocks vehicles? That's great, and it is. It's not the top priority by any means. Obviously, if they're on their way to do an unlock and, there's a traffic collision or a robbery or whatever, guess what? They're changing direction and going. It's just the fact that we offer that. I also applaud the department, and I don't know if it's reported in this report or not, but we don't have the 2, 3, 4 hour delay of responding to calls. I listen to the scanner periodically, and Des Moines has, you hear regularly, and you know this because you came from Des Moines, regularly, I've got this trip that's been holding for 3 hours. And it's because they're stretched so thin and they've got so much going on over there. It's not to say that we don't have anything going on in West Des Moines. It's just we're pretty darn efficient. And you talked about the off-duty. I ran into an officer that I know up at Shields, and that was the first I realized that they had regularly, or on a regular basis, I should say, a off-duty officer up there. And in talking with him, I was amazed with what was going on up there and why they need it. And then Sunday, I was at Home Depot and ran into another officer that I know up there, walking around in full uniform because they had an employee situation that they felt they needed police presence. And rather than take an officer off the streets, they hire an off-duty. And so I think it's great that we've got the dedicated officers that are willing. In this case, he was working a 15-hour day. He'd already worked his 10-hour shift, and then he was up there for 5. They're willing to do that because they know the importance of keeping the officers on the streets. So I applaud West Des Moines Police for allowing the officers to work off-duty. I think it's huge to know that we're keeping the officers on the streets and still keeping various businesses secure and protected. So I just, again, thank you for everything that you've done since we hired you.
Thank you.
I would echo the same comments. I mean, Chief, you've got such a positive attitude. You came in here and lifted morale. I'd say the same thing happened when City Manager Haddon came in here. It was a noticeable difference. I think people really enjoy working here. I think they really enjoy working for you. And I'm impressed at the continual improvement that you're always willing to look to make. Taking suggestions on changing things up, on addressing things that need to be improved upon, doing a study like this, not getting defensive about it, but looking at the ways we can always be better. You came in here, we established an ERU unit. I think that's been a huge success. Now we've got the flock cameras. I mean, people need to know, criminals need to know out there, we are not messing around in West Des Moines. We are keeping law and order. You violate the law, you do something wrong here, you're going to get arrested. And I also appreciate the community relations that you guys have. I appreciate going to the farmer's market and walking up and down and running into our police officers, and they're talking to the citizens on a regular basis and have great relationships with them. And, you do the cops and bobbers, and you do the police week, and you have all kinds of activities going on there. The fact that we don't have it on one sheet of paper, I think you could take everything we do and put it down there and tell a pretty good story. But you guys are just doing a phenomenal job. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the technology and the training and, how much training that we require and sensitivity training. And not only that, but situational training with a simulator that we brought in here. I mean, that is state-of-the-art training equipment, and I know other police departments have come in here and used that to train. So we are staying on the cutting edge. We're staying on top of things. We're keeping people safe. We're efficient. We're effective. I wish there was some report that would show how many officers per 1,000 population you have, but it depends on how efficient and effective you are. It depends on what the level of crime is and what kind of crime you have. I've learned long ago that firefighters maybe don't appreciate their overtime as much as police officers value that overtime. So I don't know that they'd want to see the overtime go completely bye-bye, but I'm sure that the mandatory overtime might be a little bit of a different deal. The fact that we have 10,000 hours of mandatory overtime, that's maybe a little bit much, and tells us we need to hire some more officers over time to get that down, because, these guys have lives as well. They're husbands and fathers and mothers and wives, and, they've got kids and want to go to their events, and when they get called in for mandatory overtime, there's nothing that's worse than that. So thank you for all you're doing. Really appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, moving on to our council reports and city manager update. I'll start down here to my right with City Manager Haddon.
A couple of things. The reports tonight, one on the first one with the Jana Reeker and the communication, that was from the result of the elected officials, you challenging me how do we continue to improve communications and what can we do. And I think we came up with some good things. Not that our communications don't do a great job with the person, the people we have, but we always need to take a look. So I'm excited about moving forward with these recommendations. And the police report is the same. The city manager's office we did the same thing with the fire department some years ago. And now with this, with ICMA, Matt as International City Management Association kind of coordinates this, but I got to applaud our public safety, because instead of saying, what are you doing to us, by having somebody look at what we're doing and over our shoulder, they embraced what they know they're good, but they embrace what we can do better. So I appreciate what they did, and I want to give Laura Velas a shout out for working on this from our department. So again, these are things, these due diligence, time goes fast. I don't know. When did we do fire last time, Craig? So, I don't know, maybe 10-year time is what we look at. But anyway, I just want to, they do a great job of working with us, and And I appreciate you guys challenging myself and how I can do a better job and how we can do a better job. Thank you.
We appreciate you responding because you did respond to that. We have talked to you about communications and beefing that up, and you absolutely responded and responded swiftly. And I think we're all pretty happy with what we saw here tonight. So
You just have to implement.
it's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Councilman Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say thank you to Chief Scott and thank you, Tom, because I think it's important to be self-reflective because that's the way we improve ourselves and make our city better for everyone. So really grateful for those reports. Finance Administration, we have concluded our hotel motel fund grant application process. Just as a reminder, we had almost 20 different applicants who are applying for funds from the hotel motel tax fund for the purpose of bringing future events to the city of West Des Moines. These are local entities that bring economic value in the form of additional hotel motel visits. I won't share a name, but I have a thank you card from an institution that's going to be bringing hundreds of hotel stays basically in a future event. So those are the kind of things that we really, really appreciate. The fact that so many different entities would apply for this funding means that we have people, entities, organizations that want to bring stuff to West Des Moines, and I think that's fantastic. So thank you for all those who applied, and we'll be going through the process over the next month or two. Councilwoman Hardman was a little under the weather at our public safety meeting, but really, really appreciate the reports that both Chief Scott and Chief Liu gave. Also, I wanted to say that Chief Liu, you had mentioned about the medical director contacts. This idea that state code requires us to have basically certified medical directors as a part of our EMS protocols. The fact that we have two, that gives us flexibility. I really appreciate the work that you did on that because that allows us not just to remain flexible, not just to remain compliant, but allows us to really prepare for the future just in case one person decides to leave or move on. So really grateful to learn about that. The library board. So I serve as liaison for the library board, and the library is in the midst of a search for a new library director, and I'm almost certain that we're receiving just an impressive number of applications for an impressive number of candidates because it's my opinion that people want to be the library director in the city of West Des Moines. So I'm looking forward to following that process as it goes along. And finally, for Parks and Rec, I want to give a big kudo to Ryan Penning's team. I know Tom had mentioned this, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, but this department is a grant writing machine that's just getting tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, over 200 grand worth of grants and donations for the Raccoon River project, for the Athene pedestrian bridge. So really want to give a really enthusiastic shout out to you and your department, Ryan, because every dollar that we receive in a grant is one less taxpayer dollar that we have to that opens it up for other uses for those taxpayer dollars. So very grateful for that, and thus concludes my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Great report. Thank you, Councilman Hudson. Councilman McKinney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. You know, I was just sitting here, Tom, hearing your comments, and Greg, yours as well, and thinking to myself, you know, one of the great things about this city, as I kind of hear all these comments, is how willing folks on the council, staff, leadership, everybody is about looking at the role they're undertaking and saying, you know, I can learn something, and not being so stuck in a particular way. And I think that is what's so powerful about what has happened in this community over decades and why we've been able to succeed. I was watching a show with my son the other day. It was about Patrick Mahomes, not to bring, you know, the upcoming weekend into this, but, you know, I was telling him, hey, even, you know, I was trying to tell him it's, you know, even the best players have a coach. Even the best, you know, the very best folks out there, and they're performing at their highest potential, look to learn. And I think that's exactly, Chief, what this is. You know, it is taking a look at what's going on, understanding what we can do better, realizing that, you know, there are opportunities out there, and being vulnerable to a certain degree. And I think that's really healthy. So thank you for doing that. You know, one thing I'd add, that we had development and planning this morning, and It was a relatively quick meeting. But you know what? It's a sort of meeting that we are so fortunate to have here because we had a very quick meeting, and it's a meeting that probably involved several $100 million of additional investment in our community. There was conversation about Microsoft 16 and 17 coming in there south of Highway 5. And, you know, it's amazing to have that sort of a development happening. And here we are just approving it like it's, you know, evaluating it like it's, you know, it just keeps coming through. And it's amazing to have that. We need to recognize that we're fortunate to have those developments. So thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you, Mayor. And good evening, everyone. Push the button so it's green so people can hear me. I just want to take just one quick moment of personal privilege to acknowledge one of our city council members that isn't here tonight. I think most people probably know that he lost his father. And so if he's watching later tonight or tomorrow or whatever, we've been praying and thinking for you, thinking about you and your family. And it was a privilege to drive up there with most of the folks in city council yesterday because he lived about 2.5 hours away to be there to support what he's going through. So prayers are with the Lotz family. The second thing I want to mention is that I had an opportunity to attend the Bravo event, and Councilman McKinney was also there. And we are a fairly nice supporter of Bravo, which is a regional arts initiative that provides funding for probably close to 100 or so organizations. And I know that Councilman McKinney will be their incoming chair or current chair next year, so we'll be well represented. But they put on a phenomenal event this Saturday. It takes a lot to put on one of the biggest fundraisers probably of the year, well attended by probably 1,200 or so folks, raising a lot of money for arts organization. One of them is right here in our town, Taste of the Junction, and others, okay, just to mention one. I know there's many others, but to participate in supporting that event and what they do for arts and culture in our community and through the region was phenomenal. And I think it was a big party of a purpose for all that was there, wouldn't you say, Councilman McKinney?
It was incredible.
Yeah. So, and good luck as you chair the organization next year.
Thank you.
I also, too, want to acknowledge, I would be remiss if I did acknowledge, and I know that there is a proclamation, Black History Month. And to me, Black History Month is all year round, but it is set aside for February, and so we'll take it. But I want to acknowledge Audrey for the work that she does to put together proclamations that represent not just Black History Month, but many, 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 many organizations and cultures. So as an African American, you know, I stand on the shoulders of giants. I wouldn't even be in this seat if it wasn't for some of the ancestors that lost their lives, for the ancestors that marched, for my ancestors that walked, for my ancestors that got hosed down, and for my ancestors that had dogs that were biting at their legs. I wouldn't be here. And so I remember when I ran for city council, I'll share this story. I knocked on a door, and a gentleman told me that they did not elect colored women or colored people to city council. And I was amazed by that because that was just 6 years ago. And I tell people that story every chance I get because as much progress as we make, there is still progress yet to be made. And so I went ahead and did my business, and I showed him differently. Someone asked, was I going to go talk to him and ask how his sidewalks are doing as I was on city council? I chose not to do that. I chose not to do that. I chose to sit in this seat and press this yes or no button to make this city a better place than how I found it. And we do that through the collective effort of this team. So I am honored to help celebrate this month. I'm honored that we have someone like Audrey who's helping us craft the words that allow us to read them and speak life into them. And so I encourage anyone in this room, if you haven't already, to find someone that looks a little bit different than yourself and call them for coffee. Visit with them, learn their history, learn their culture, and I promise you it's going to make you a better person, because that's how we break down bridges, and that's how we cross bridges, I should say, is by honoring cultures that are different than ourselves. So I want to conclude with those remarks because they're important to me. And as I come in here every day and do what my ancestors fought for me to do, I'm proud to be an African-American citizen celebrating Black History Month here in West Des Moines, Iowa.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Absolutely. Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Trevilian.
Nothing this time, Your Honor.
Okay, I would just give a quick update. I think many of you have probably seen it in the news, on TV, but I am the chair of the Des Moines Area Regional Transit Authority, and we are struggling a little bit at this point in time. And we are struggling not because of mismanagement at DART or anything like that. DART is extremely well-run, and we're in very capable hands with our new CEO, Amanda Wonke, who does a phenomenal job. Years ago, when I joined DART, we took a look at the job we were doing at DART, not unlike what we're doing here, and tried to figure out how we could be more efficient, more effective with our resources that we had. And we looked at different partnerships with Uber and Lyft and Yellow Cab, and we did some creative and innovative things that were out of the box to try to save taxpayer money and enhance our transportation services that we were providing at that time. One of the things that we also took a look at was we've got 12 member communities in DART, and it's 11 cities and Polk County. And we took a look to see, what is the value for all of our member communities that are a part of DART? We realize that there's going to be some equity into the system, but what is the cost and benefit of being a member of DART? And with that, we took a look at our funding formula to make sure that we better aligned cost and benefit. And in doing that, Des Moines at the time was paying 33% of the bill, but they were using 70% of the services. So there was cost and benefit were a little bit out of line, and the suburban communities were having a hard time footing the bill for DART. And many of them were looking at potentially pulling out of DART, which we knew would be just devastating to the system, because we need to have a regional transit system to get people where they go. You take a look at how all of us live our lives, and I live in West Des Moines. I work downtown in Des Moines. I've taken kids to gymnastics in Urbandale and many different youth sports in Grimes, which seems to be the youth sports capital of the world at this point in time. A lot of warehouses with basketball hoops in there. And so we need this regional system. And so we looked at the funding formula. We made that change. We knew that there was no way that Des Moines could have a dollar for dollar. That they could pay 70% of the bill for 70% of the services. So we capped them at 49.2% of the bill for 70% of the services. And over an 8-year period, we realigned the funding formula to better have cost and benefits match up. And we did this based on population and the service that each member community receives, so that it is truly a fair funding formula that we came up with and implemented. Knowing that this would be difficult, we implemented this over an 8-year period of time. We phased it in so that Des Moines would go from 33% to 35% to 37% and so on and so forth over time. At the same time, we took a look at alternative revenue sources. Property taxes wasn't the best way to fund this system. It is not the best way to fund it, and we are very reliant on property taxes. So we lobbied the legislature. We tried to get alternative funding sources. We had a hotel motel transit tax that people from outside the area would pay to fund our transit system. That made it all the way until the 11th hour when it died in the Iowa House. Then we had the hoteliers form a lobby and lobby against it and put it to rest. So now we're in a situation where the difference between what Des Moines is able to fund through their levy, everybody has a 95-cent cap, and what their contribution needs to be through the funding formula to be fair to all member communities is a difference of $7.6 million over the 8-year period of time. The legislature did give us one tool, and that was in the form of a franchise fee. If you remember, Des Moines had collected money that they weren't supposed to, and the legislature authorized them to go up to a 7.5% franchise fee from the 5% that you normally are allowed to do. So they got the 2.5% franchise fee if they put that towards transit. We asked Des Moines to enact that 2.5% franchise fee to put it towards transit and fund DART. It's not an easy lift. They've got some of the greatest need and the least ability to pay for it. Their people are the ones, the people that are riding the bus are going to be the ones that are paying this in their heating bill. So it's not an easy decision. They were having difficulty there, so we came forth and put forth a compromise. Asked them to do something equivalent to 1.5% of the franchise fee, and with that, the suburbs would agree to extend the implementation of the funding formula out additional 4 years and cover the deficit for the next 3 years, while we work to reimagine DART and figure out how we can be even more out of the box and figure out how to provide more creative and innovative solutions for transportation. We are now waiting to hear back from the city of Des Moines on what they're willing to do, and we are hopeful that they will come to the table and meet us partway on this, so that we don't have to make some drastic cuts, because 60% of the rides we provide are to people's jobs. Other rides are to medical appointments that people need and education as well, and these cuts would be devastating. So that's where we're at on that. Stay tuned for what happens next. Councilman Hudson.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just take a point of personal privilege,
Yes.
because just want everyone online and in the audience to know that certainly a lot of folks in our community utilize DART, and I think it's really, really important what you all are doing. But I really want to give you a lot of credit, Mayor, because I know that you know the system, you know DART, and the fact that you're the chair, I think, is a real difference maker. And if there's someone who can work this out, someone who can make this happen, I think it's you, Mr. Mayor. And so I just wanted to say thank you for your leadership in this. It means a lot.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate it. I will give it my best. Okay, moving on. Item 4, consent agenda. We will pull item 4R and read the resolution out loud for Black History Month. Are there any other items that any council member would like to pull and vote on separately? Hearing none.
Motion for the remainder?
Okay.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 4R, as I said, is a proclamation for Black History Month, which is February, the month that we are in, and I will read the proclamation. Whereas during the month of February, the city of West Des Moines recognizes the immeasurable contributions of African Americans in our city, state, and nation. And whereas first created in 1926 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson as a week-long observance to accurately represent Black history, it would be adopted 60 years later as a month-long celebration by Congress in 1986. And whereas this month provides us the opportunity to promote the countless contributions of African Americans that they have made enrich the lives of every American. Whereas, despite the enduring history of enslavement, injustice, and discrimination, African Americans have played a pivotal role in U.S. history. Their contributions to agriculture, medicine, science, politics, arts, and countless other fields have spurred economic opportunities for all. And whereas throughout West Des Moines history, our African American community has played a significant role in the development of historic Valley Junction. Serving as rail and cement workers, they helped build the railroad and make the cement that would be used to pave roads and sidewalks, ultimately furthering the vision of historic Valley Junction. And now, therefore, I, Russ Trimble, Mayor of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, do hereby proclaim February 2024 as Black History Month, and I call upon the residents of West Des Moines to learn about the history and current experiences of African Americans throughout the year. And I encourage you to attend one or more of the Black History Month events happening in this city. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
So move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 5, old business. Item 5A, we are being asked to defer this again to the March 4th meeting. Can I get a motion to defer?
To defer?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 5B, Jordan Ridge, west of South Jordan Creek Parkway and south of Stagecoach Drive, amend the Jordan Ridge Planned Unit Development Ordinance to change the housing type allowed in Parcel E, Rock Equity Holdings 2 LLC. We've got a resolution for approval of the second reading, waiver of the third, and adoption of the ordinance amendment to the PUD in final form. There are no outstanding issues, and there are no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously at the last council meeting.
Motion considered the second reading?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019, and ordinance numbers 2499 and 2568 pertaining to plan unit development district regulations and guidelines.
Motion to approve the second reading?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 6, public hearings. Item 6A, this is a time and place for a public hearing to consider no block voluntary annexation initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 12th, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience that would like to address the council, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, please hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on item 6A? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution for approval of the voluntary annexation, and there are no outstanding issues.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 6A is approved. Item 6B, this is the time and place for a public hearing to consider amendment number 2 to the 8300 Mill Civic Parkway Urban Renewal Area initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
January 26th, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have you received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6B, please come to the podium, give us your name, address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on item 6B? Again, if you're online, *6, not #6. Okay, seeing and hearing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution to approve amendment number 2 to the 8300 Mill Civic Parkway Urban Renewal Plan. There are no outstanding issues, and this did come through F&A with unanimous recommendation as well. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's been moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Four yes.
Okay, item 6C. This is the time and place for a public hearing to consider Grand Avenue reconstruction project, vacate 23,398 square feet of right-of-way of Grand Avenue initiated by the city of West Des Moines. This was also continued from January 2nd and the January 16th meeting. And with that, Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
December 20th, 2023, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
The Planning and Zoning Commission, by a vote of 6 yes with 1 absent, adopted a resolution recommending approval of the vacation request.
Okay, you know the routine. Anybody from the audience would like to address the council on item 6C, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chambers or online that would like to address the council on item 6C? Okay, I will declare the public hearing closed. We've got 2 resolutions and an ordinance that have to be considered separately, and there are no outstanding issues. Does somebody want to move consideration of the first reading of the ordinance vacating the public right-of-way?
Motion for consideration.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, so moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Four yes, an ordinance vacating 23,398 square feet of right-of-way of Grand Avenue.
Motion to approve first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, now we've got two resolutions which we can take together. Does somebody want to move approval of the resolutions?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6D has been withdrawn from consideration. Ryan, I'm assuming I need to get a motion to,
Yes, we are asking for a motion
Okay.
to withdraw the item.
somebody want to
Move for
move?
withdrawal.
Okay, it's been moved, and is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6E, this is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider a sale of city-owned property located, locally known as 545 8th Street, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 26, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody online or in the audience who would like to address the council on this item, please come to the podium, give us your name, address, for the record. If you're online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution for the sale of the house at 548 8th Street to the Greater Des Moines Habitat for Humanity. There are no outstanding issues, and this came through F&A with unanimous recommendation. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6F. This is time and a place for a public hearing to consider recodification of the West Des Moines City Code initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 26, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6F, please come to the podium, give us your name, address for the record. Anybody online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody that would like to address the council on item 6F, the exciting recodification of the city code? Okay, don't all jump up at once, especially the individual sitting out there with the Iowa sweatshirt. I know that Councilman Hudson was trying to get him to come up here. All right, with that, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we've got an ordinance for approval, the first reading of recodification of the city code, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to consider the first reading.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
4 yes, an ordinance adopting the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024.
Motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 6G. This is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider 2023-24 fiscal year operating capital budget, amendment number 2, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
January 26, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience that would like to address the council on item 6G, please come to the podium, give us your name, address for the record. Anybody online, do the same thing, hit star 6 and do the same thing. Is there anybody that would like to address the council on item 6G, amendment number 2 to the operating and capital budget? Okay. Seeing and hearing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we've got a resolution approving amendment number 2 to the operating capital budget, and there are no outstanding issues, and this was also approved unanimously by Finance and Administration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion from the council?
Just as always, a thanks to Tim Stiles and Chris Hamlet for all their outstanding work in keeping our budget up to date and good to go.
Absolutely, and I would just say thank you to you and Councilman Lotz for reviewing all this with the Finance Department and asking all the hard questions and vetting this before it gets to us. So thank you for all your work on Finance Administration. Okay, any other comments or questions before we vote? Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 7, new business. Item 7A, We've got motion to approve traffic code amendment, no parking zones, Bishop Drive, 88th Street to 98th Street on the south side. Again, we've got an ordinance for approval, the first reading. There are no outstanding issues, and this was approved unanimously by Public Services City Council Subcommittee. So thank you for your work on vetting this issue.
Motion to consider first reading.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on item 7A? Okay, hearing nobody, I don't need to clear it. Please vote. Tripping myself up here.
4 yes, an ordinance to amend the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2019 by amending provisions pertaining to the traffic code relating to official traffic controls.
For approval with first reading.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
4 yes.
Okay, item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. We have nothing to receive, file, or refer. Item 9, other
I
matters.
do, Mr. Honor.
We do
Mayor,
have- we have
number
something-
9. Real
Okay,
quick.
oh, okay, yes, I was going to ask if anybody had on item 9, plus we have a legislative update too.
Well, that's what I was going to refer to. The
Okay.
legislative update is before you. Jamie Lutzring spends a tremendous amount of time before and after and during the session working on this. I will tell you, did a great job of outlining, sorting through the, I don't know, hundreds of bills that are coming through the Senate and the House. And one thing I'd like to note, you look through these carefully, and she'll send out we'll send out a report. She will every week. But one thing there's a common thread you'll see among legislation. Most legislation impacting cities either reduces our impact. There's never, they'll require more things to do for us, but they never come along with cash to do it with. So that's the challenge that we have. For example, enhancing cancer presumptions for 411 firefighters and police officers. It's a noble bill and effort, but the state is going to require 49 cities to do it in the whole state, but with no cash, it's just the taxpayers will, and who knows how many millions of dollars that could be. We don't know. So we have to constantly watch these gender balance requirement for appointed boards. They're striking that. We'll continue to do that with our city another way through ordinance. Automated traffic enforcement prohibits, an oldie but goodie. Funding for public library authorities, civil service stuff. And so read through that carefully. And building, some people say they're trying to it's a matter of trying to keep affordable housing by talking about facade requirements or others. But we're also greatly concerned about the safety and sturdy construction of houses and place where people live to withstand derechos and high winds and tornadoes. So we got to look at these holistically, but it's a tough job and it's frustrating, but I'm just telling you, that's kind of the tenor, what we see on there's not a lot of legislation that will help us provide better services that are more cost-effective for our citizens. But
And I do want to take this time really quickly, just again, to thank you, Tom, to thank Jamie for all of her work that she does, paying attention to the thousands of bills that are going back and forth up there. They're coming up with a deadline for Senate bills to be out of Senate committees and House bills to be out of House committees. That's the first funnel. That's February 16th. So a lot of bills will probably meet their match with that funnel. But I do want to also, again, and I can't thank you and Jamie enough, and your office, Tom, as well as our legislative committee of Councilman McKinney and Councilman Trevilian. Anytime that we've got pending legislation up there that we need to weigh in on, we've got this legislative committee of you four, essentially, that go up to the Capitol, talk to the people we need to talk to, and also our lobbyists up there, Denton's Davis Brown, Tim Coonan, Sidney Gangstad. They do a phenomenal job for us. So we and the citizens of West Des Moines are very well represented in making sure that we're up there and having our voices heard. So thank you to the work that you guys all do on behalf of the city. So, any other comments, Tom, on this, or Jamie?
No, thank you.
Any other issues any council person would like to bring up at this point in time for the good of the order?
I don't have an
Councilwoman Hart.
issue, but I meant to acknowledge Jennifer, who is the interim executive director of the library. I used to go to the library almost every day, and Jennifer provides phenomenal service. So it's nice that she's been elevated to the interim, someone that we know and someone that does great service and cares about libraries and people's learning and all of that. So she is exceptional at customer service and what she does and how she makes you feel when you're bothering her about why can't I do this or why can't I do that. So congratulations on being interim, and excited to see where that might go.
Oh, you reminded me, I do want to say one more quick thing, and then we'll get out of here, but I am starting up a Mayor's Advisory Council. Notice went out that I'm starting this up. I am just absolutely heartwarmed by the number of citizens. Al, thank you for applying. I know a number of people in here did. We've received a lot of different applications. People are engaged and willing to serve in this community. It just says a lot about our citizenry, how much they want to be involved and how much they want to serve and have their voices heard. That is why we are the city that we are, is because of all of you that want to get involved and participate. And so I'm looking forward to that. The deadline to apply for it is March 15th. People will be notified by April 15th whether or not they're able to serve. Trying to have a big balance of diversity of opinions, diversity in general, trying to make sure that all opinions are shared and everybody is heard, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's going to be 21 people on this Mayor's Advisory Council. It's going to be balanced geographically and demographically to the extent possible, and I'm really looking forward to it. The first meeting will be May 9th. It's always going to be over food and drinks, so it should be fun and nice casual conversation. So with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second?